Okay, all right. Let's check another game in Sicilian. So we got that was Lombardy down there. There's another Sicilian against Reshevsky in 1961. This is chronological order, by the way. I think I've done a video for the some of these. So okay, board's okay. Let's have a look at this. So Fischer was white in the match of 1961. Sicilian defence, slow enough. Knight f3, possibly the best move by test as well. So he plays d4, and have we got a Sicilian? No, we've got an accelerated dragon. Right, but this is an accelerated dragon, g6. So Fischer plays knight c3, and on to bishop g7. He doesn't do this patzer move, which I keep doing, which is knight c6. I think that black gets a good game with b takes, a good centre use of b4. I think knight takes c6 is a patzer move, isn't it? So instead he plays, I think, the best move, bishop e3, just keeping the tension. For some reason I had some success with knight c6 in blitz, and I really thought it was good, but I don't think so. I think bishop e3. Really? Knight takes... Oh, probably a crap engine or low analysis. Or so knight f6. So knight g4 is a big threat now. So bishop e2 to stop knight g4s, because otherwise d4 is being undermined. So castles. Now isn't this a surprising move? f4, because you might expect f3. But f4? Maybe he wants to play e5 at some point. So e5 at some point. Okay, so d6. And now we see knight b3. So is this a favourable Sicilian dragon type thing, or is this okay for white? Is white going to play bishop f3? Okay, so bishop e6. No, we have a very exciting move here. g4. Can you believe this? This is shocking, an outrageous move, g4. Is it? It's like he's playing like Nesmetinov. Did Fischer actually study Nesmetinov? Wow. Amazing, isn't it? g4. Yeah. So, g4. So he's got an immediate threat of g5. So I thought he was going to play positioning here. I thought he was going to castle. Maybe play bishop f3. But it doesn't give white much. So g4. And now d5, the classic, counter in the centre. So is he not worried by d5? So because usually to counter a flank attack, the classic recipe is the counter attack in the centre. But he's following classic recipe, Adam. Don't you think? d5 is the classic recipe for counter attacking against a flank attack. Yeah, but the general rule is if you're faced with a flank attack, you counter attack in the centre. For some reason, maybe okay. So f5. So maybe the specific details here are not working for black. So the bishop's pushed back, and now taking on d5. So the knight's threatened. So why isn't it a good temporary pawn sacrifice to get back the pawn? If black can get back the pawn, this bishop will be pushed back. But I suppose he's protecting the pawn now with bishop f3. So white's holding on to d5. So takes. Okay. And now he kicks back one of these knights. But black, surprisingly, doesn't move the knight. He takes on g4. But now we see white keeping an iron grip on the d5 pawn. with the move bishop g2. So what's happened here? It's like black's losing some control of the centre now, and white's sacrificed the pawn to get this big splitting pawn on d5, a bit like an Albin counter gambit pawn in reverse. Maybe white can use the f-file, and these dark squares are a bit weak. So knight a6. So we see the move queen d3. That prevents bishop f5, doesn't it? So maybe castling queenside is now supported as well. In fact, after black's next move, Fischer castled queenside. So what do you think about this position? It's like white is actually overprotecting, like Nimzovich, the d5 central square. Forget that there's a pawn there. He's got all his pieces generating strength from the overprotection of d5. So it was like a pretend flank attack to get overprotection of d5, wasn't it? That pawn is like dislocating black's pieces here, because look, spectator pieces abound here on the queen side, don't they? And there's dark square weaknesses. Of course, bean counting engines will think that black is better, but black has a very difficult position if this is an over the board game. So knight takes d5. Knight, oh no, not knight takes d5, just ripping open the h-file is going to fragment these pawns even further. This isolated h-pawn, the target for that queen on d3. And the g or h files are coming to alive. This bishop is still a spectator piece, isn't it? Not able to really assist. So what an exciting game, do you think, from this match in 1961? What did black do here? He played g3. He's trying to suppress the creation of line opening. But is it enough? Fischer is still going to batter his pieces down the g-file with this next move, rook hg1. So we're preparing to win g3 and then pin the bishop. Okay, so queen d6. So he doesn't mind giving up the light square bishop. And now he takes on d5. So I wonder what the immediate tactical threats are. I think bishop f4 would be supported by knight d5 now, and then rook takes g3, or even queen g3. So bishop f4 seems to be a major threat here. He's going to get his pawn back and tear the shreds out of black's king here, it would seem. Sorry, I can't see opening rents. Is that on chess cube or here? I can't see opening rents. Who's ranting about openings? Tim? Sorry. So what do you guys think? Black is going to get hacked up here. Yeah? You know, his g-file, this poor bishop, this was supposed to be a nice Sicilian dragon transposition, and it's all backfired. For Fischer getting this vicious attack now on the g-file. So queen g6 saying, please, please, get the queens off. Please don't make my king. I want the queens off. So Fischer keeps the queens on, and he's going to play rook takes g3. I think I remember this game from one of Erich Schiller's excellent books on Fischer's classic games. Sorry. No, I think I did. I think sorry. Sorry, it's a little joke. No, but Fischer, no, his books were good. They had lots of diagrams to follow. Look, you could take his books anywhere and pick up a diagram and then carry on looking at the game. No, seriously, look, you go out and about and you can pick up a game at any diagram's position. What's so funny? I'm not trying to make a joke. What is the matter with you people? Don't you like diagrams in chess books? For God's sake. Let's just move on. Let's move on. So look, the attack is raging on. So why on earth is Reshevsky taking even more material? His king's about to be torn to shreds. His poor bishop on g7 is going to be taken. What is this game? Look, self-pin. This probably wasn't Reshevsky's best day of his chess. Was he well past his peak? No, seriously, I want to ask a serious question now. In 1961, how old was Reshevsky? Can we work it out, please? No, seriously, Reshevsky was past his peak, I assume, from this game. Because look, what is going on here, winning all this material and self-pins? Or is Fischer just making him look bad? Only gives this +4. Blimey. So there's an immediate threat now of, well, bishop h6, rook h4 maybe, to force f5. Okay, what's the concrete thing which is going on? Knight e3 now forces f5, doesn't it, because of the pin? Or no. No, in fact, a surprise move here by black. Queen e4, hitting that rook on h1. Now, what would have happened here if black had played the move f5? Can any of you see an issue with f5 here? Anything? What's wrong with f5? Anybody? Do we know what would Fischer have done here? Anyone? Hazard a guess? Okay, has anyone got an engine to check out f5? Because we have got our brains detached tonight, haven't we? Look, has no one got an engine? Right, come on. This is supposed to be group analysis, right? You know, people could specialise in contributing something to the discussion like engine analysis. Okay. I'll carry on. Okay. What, knight takes g4. Let's guess. Is it bishop h6? Is that a good guess? I don't know. Couldn't the bishop just move? Where's the attack? Gone. Yeah, we've just blown it for white, haven't we? Is there better than that? What on earth did Fischer have in mind? I don't know. What about just knight d4? Is that possible? There's rook d8. If knight d4, you know, I mean, there's just like rook d8. That's no good either. I think there might be little chess partner on here, you know, on this thing. Shall I load up little chess partner? No, I don't know. Let's not get that desperate. Okay, let's swiftly move on. Okay, so instead, queen e4 was moved. Queen e4. Okay, pardon me. So queen e4. All right. Okay. So someone said, sorry, queen h2, king g8, queen g2, queen c6, blunderful chess. Thank you. According to Crafty, what, white would be better then, would it? Okay, so queen e4, queen h2 now, threatening. Well, the bishop's still threatened, and the rook is protected. So bishop e6. So now we have this exchange sacrifice, which, as I keep telling you guys, you know, positional sacrifices like this, there's a fundamental basis. It's emphasizing something in the position. It's just emphasizing weak dark squares. So if you imagine you know you're using a word processor and you want to underline a word, it's the same as underlining a word. It's underlining the weak dark squares around black's king. You're just basically like putting an underline. Don't think of it as, you know, like losing material. Or, that's a bad way of looking at it. It's just underlining the dark squares. So check. Check. So winning the queen, I mean, so it actually had a very, very quick, you know, knockout blow to it in any case. Underlining those squares, underlining the king's safety. So it seems, just when briefly looking at this game, I seem to have come out with a better defense than Reshevsky. Is that really the case? If we rewind, have I really, just looking at this for 5 seconds, come up with a better defense here? F5. Is that, are we really saying that's the case? That we can't see what on earth to do after f5? I can't immediately see an immediate refutation. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. So he played this Queen E4 and he really got done over. So let's look at Queen E4 again. So simply there was an exchange sacrifice now, which doesn't look too hard to spot because it immediately wins the Queen anyway. And now the knight can pounce in. And of course, look, the dark squares which were underlined, as I say, underlined by the positional sacrifice, are now being exploited by the bishop and queen. So he takes on f5, knight g4, threatening knight f6, check to win the rook, queen g5 again, threatening maybe knight f6. He allows a spite check, and he's probably winning the rook on e6 now, because king f7, queen d7, the rook on e6 is dropping off. So here Reshevsky resigned. Now we might be able to cheat here and work out what happens after f5 if we look at the kibitzing of the game at chessgames.com. What's this? Analysis by Rybka. It's already busted here, as you can see from this analysis. But what about f5? Did someone ever question f5, or is it just... I don't know, there were only 2 pages of kibitzing available, and no one seemed to ask about f5. I mean, I don't know. It's sad, isn't it? A memorable game with 2 pages of kibitzing, we can't find out what happened after f5. So this position, it seems, this is terrible. Knight e3. Okay. Let's try again. Knight e3, f5. It's memorable how easy it was to win after the very simple looking positional sacrifice, maybe. I don't know, maybe it was an important match. So no one's actually really convinced by the position here for white. Is that the case? Oh, can we try this again? Knight takes g4. Takes. What about in this position, guys? What about this position? Rook h4. How about that? Rook h4. Because now if you play h5, there's rook takes g4. What about that? That's collecting the g4 pawn, isn't it? Yeah? Collecting g4? Yeah, because look, h5, you just play rook takes g4. Bang. Over. So maybe it's a simple move like that, because g4 is a target, isn't it? And, you know, if bishop f6, then you're asking for a disaster now, surely. Somehow. Just maybe treble, because you can play queen g2 next for g8 to be weak. Now here queen e1 might be a threat, so I'm not sure I'm getting this right. Yeah, okay. Alright, should we not dwell on that too much? Okay, I'll save this and we'll go on to another game, unless you're really interested in... Alright, I mean, I wasn't checking with Houdini. Can I just assure you of that? I wasn't checking with... It just seemed to me... F5... yeah, okay. So I'll stop that and we'll go on to another game. Hold on a sec.